This idea is called slow cart, and I haven't had a chance to think about it too much. I was just thinking about this on the highway on my drive back from somewhere, and this is an idea that's clearly a work in progress, and I call it the slow cart. And I call it the slow cart because when I was a kid growing up in Karachi, there used to be these carts, and there were different kind of carts for different purposes, but they were pretty standard, like it's just a couple of wooden planks with supported by four wheels. It's the most basic utility when it comes to four-wheeled vehicles that you can put together, and this was human powered. So the merchants would sell groceries, as in like fruits and vegetables, scrap metal. They would collect that in newspapers, and the guys who sell the fish, for some reason they decided to just sell it on the bicycle. Anyways, so the idea is actually pretty simple. Roads are underutilized at night. That's an assumption I'm making based on the observations I've made throughout my existence. That assumption must always be supported by evidence, and so I think though that statement is valid for most of the cities, that the roads are in effect underutilized at night. What does it mean by night? That's a good question. Like different roads in different cities would be underutilized at different hour or different time of the day or night. So what I'm thinking is, what if there was like a blimp going across the city or the town, taking snapshots of the roads, and then what you can have is like you can run machine vision algorithms in order to be able to calculate which segment, which part of the road is active or not active at which time of the day, and you can kind of like come up with a frequency table or something like that, like some kind of a statistical model, in order to be able to do what I have just shared twice. It doesn't have to be a blimp or an aerostat. I think that's probably the most cost-efficient mechanism. Space is opening up pretty rapidly, so something like this can in fact be accomplished with like a satellite in a low Earth orbit, or near Earth orbit, like a lower orbit. And I've seen a Canadian company do some good work here. There's a couple of companies jumping into this area, and the actual level of precision is getting pretty good. I think there's like even real-time feeds, which is probably, I'm not going to talk about those. I don't think you need real-time feeds for something like this. You just need to be able to ascertain when is the time of the day when the roads are underutilized. And again, the idea is called slow cart. So then what's going to happen then is, because autonomous cars are going mainstream, then like a simpler version of a car would be devised. This car doesn't have any dependencies on, it's not going to have any humans operating it. There would be a humanoid or two or maybe more within this vehicle. So the actual size of this vehicle determines on how many deliveries this cart's going to be making. So what's going to happen is, say if there's it could be anyone, it could be Amazon, it could be Walmart, it could be any grocery chain, it could be a new grocery chain. One of my friends, Praveen, he's got his grocery startup. It's called Cartly. Could be Cartly. So whoever takes the first mover's advantage here is willing to take this risk. I think this could be a pretty big opportunity. Should talk to Praveen about this. Maybe I'll send this video to him first. So what's gonna happen is, like, you're basically gonna have the grocery business. People are kind of looking at this all wrong, based on my humble opinion. using drones to deliver stuff, 7-Eleven, are you crazy? I mean, I'm not averse to it. You know, people want to deliver pizza, that's fine, that's valid. Pizza doesn't take a lot of, like, it's not that heavy based on my understanding. Depends on how many toppings you put on it and how much cheese. But groceries, when people do groceries, when humans do groceries, this is such an inefficient system. I actually made a couple of blog posts about this. So like, we're gonna be 9 billion people on this planet sometime, and almost every day I do groceries for myself, as like, just for me. I do groceries 2 to 3 times a week. And living in this part of the world, I'm grateful for where I live. There's a lot of good things about this part of the world, but I don't see like innovation in this realm, specifically when it comes to the grocery business. I haven't seen a lot of business by local producers or local companies. Anyway, so the system is very inefficient. Without going into a lot of details, I gotta dedicate at least 40 minutes on average of my time, even if I want to just get 2 or 3 items. So for me to get down there, as in drive down there, grab the stuff, put it in the bags, get in the cashier lane, wait there, and put the stuff back in the car and drive back, it's 40-45 minutes on average. So again, you do this a couple of times a week, you know, the time adds up. So the groceries should be delivered to humans versus the other way around, where you have these networks where it's like kind of like a hub where all the groceries are deposited, and then we kind of pick and choose what we are going to get from there. Now, my idea is mostly suited, I should have mentioned this, is mostly suited for groceries or produce or anything really that's over a certain weight class or size. So if you just want to grab like I don't know, like this doesn't apply to like fast food, or you know, like the example I used of pizza, or like if you want to get a toothbrush, and it doesn't apply to those kind of things. It applies to big ticket items, big heavier items, a bag of rice, a sack of potatoes, you know, like 4 big jugs of water. A lot of people buy water. I used to buy water when I used to live in Kitchener-Waterloo. Bags of salt, again, for like softening the water. Like again, big heavy items. When you kind of put a couple of groceries together, that kind of weight adds up too. So this is also I think it's a problem for seniors, somebody who has arthritis, somebody like a pregnant lady. Like carrying all that weight is a problem. It's basically a hassle. So coming back to the slow cart, and coming back to the actual fact that the roads are going to be underutilized during certain times of the 24-hour cycle, why not put this to use? What if there was a automobile that was specifically designed for delivering groceries? What if there were humanoids within these automobiles, and the humanoids perform a very simple function? This doesn't require this is possible. The idea that I'm going to share is possible with today's technology. I've seen technologies like the kind of stuff Boston Robotics and a couple other robotics companies like Adept Robotics, or a couple other companies are doing. So this is a very simple system whereby you're going to create an automobile which will deliver the groceries to the recipient's doorstep. So what's going to happen is, first of all, you're going to figure out, again, what time of the day the roads are underutilized. And then what's going to happen is a fleet of, it could be like the size of an automobile, like, so my car, you know, like a Chrysler, it's not too big. You can load up maybe groceries for 3 or 4 families at a time in an automobile that size. Actually, maybe more, because if you redesign the automobile from the function of the utility is supposed to provide or perform, which in this case is delivering groceries, then you can recoup a lot of real estate. All of a sudden, you don't need the seats. You know, you don't need the space in trunk being wasted, or You don't need like, you can repurpose a lot of that. You can stack the groceries. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. So because even be a truck. Actually, a truck is just passing by. I don't know if I can do this. They have their logo on it and everything. So I'm not saying it should be that company. Like, I'm not saying it should even be that size. But you can easily stack groceries for a good like 10, 12, maybe 20 families or even individuals in a truck that size in a single go. You can have a larger truck, in fact. With a larger truck, you can deliver groceries perhaps for an entire neighborhood at a time. And it's going to be a really simple process. So I understand Amazon's got this new kind of grocery stores in the making, or actually it's already live now, whereby they are kind of, they're solving the problem of the convenience store, really. It's not the grocery shopping, if you think about it. Because you just gotta pick up an item from the shelf and you walk away. You know, there are no lines, there are no checkups, there's nothing like that. And you can actually kind of bring about innovations in that domain using a couple of technologies. But the core problem is still there. People are buying these heavier, big-ticketed items. I shouldn't call it big-ticket. They're just heavier items. Something more than like maybe like 10 pounds at a go. Or even if like the total amount amounts to 10 pounds, then you don't want to lug that with you. You know, it's kind of like a nuisance almost. So you would make the purchase through through an app or like a website, and you will choose a time out of the day. What's going to happen is, so this is where the idea needs a little bit more refinement, because when I made a blog post about the grocery industry in general, my intuitive guess was that the real estate in and around the house or housing, or your real estate, your place of residence, or where the delivery needs to be made, needs to be rethought of. And my idea was kind of like a garage door within a garage door, so you kind of like have a small outlet which is authenticated by a select group of people or vendors or somebody you authorize. So like the Postal Service or UPS would be one of the vendors you authorize, and you can kind of come up with some easier constructs in order to do something like that, like with like QR codes or something like that. So something like similar, like you know, when your dog kind of comes into your house, you don't open the door for the dog every time. There's just some kind of a mini construct, mini door for the dog to kind of pass through. So something similar would need to happen for. So this is a lot of jobs. A lot of these are going to be temporary jobs, but it's going to keep a lot of people busy. Just like installing solar panel requires a lot of people. Same with retrofitting a portion of your like entrance or like garage door, somewhere where the delivery can actually be made. So what's going to happen is, once you've made the purchase, you will like choose a time of the day when the grocery can be made. And from the perspective of the provider or the source or the vendor, they would put the groceries in the box. The groceries would go in the trucks would go on the streets at a time when there's less traffic on the roads, because you don't want like 200 trucks or maybe 2,000 trucks for a city the size of Toronto, maybe more, like inundating the streets and clogging everything up during rush hour, busy hour, whatnot. So what's going to happen next is the trucks simply get on the roads. They have humanoids within the trucks, and the humanoids would simply take the box and deliver the grocery to the chute to the facility. So this is a super simple idea. The investment to me is not that much. It's a one-time cost to maintain and repair the humanoids. I can't like it's a one-time investment in a zero marginal sense, in a Jeremy Rifkin sense. Same with the cost of the actual vehicle that we're talking about here. Actually, you can work with an existing vendor, somebody like what's the name of this 3D printed company? There's a guy who made a 3D printed car, Aleo Motors, something like that. So their new version actually looks super nice. You know, the first version clearly looked like it was 3D printed with the lines and whatnot showing, but the new one looks really nice. But this business is about not the looks or aesthetics, because most of the trucks are gonna, but you still want the vehicle to be robust enough so that A, it's secure, B, it's not exactly in that order, but security, like reliability, secure, it doesn't pose a threat to somebody else. If somebody rams into the vehicle, it's not damage to the like somebody who rams into it. You got to factor these kind of things in. So you got to build a vehicle from that point of view, and you can actually do that with generative designs. Yeah, there's a one-time cost for actually coming up with the vehicle. Then there's the setup cost when it comes to like setting things up on the cloud, which is going to be negligible. There's that cost for the humanoids, and there's the cost for the blimps that are going to be snapshotting the city in terms of the traffic, or like the satellite company. So these are the core ingredients of this business. There's the blimps or the satellites, there is the vehicle itself, and there is the humanoids. And I think this is a good idea. I'm biased, but this is a big problem. People every day lug a lot of groceries back and forth from the grocery store to the house. You know, I've mentioned some of the for seniors, for women who are pregnant, or people even who have arthritis. This is a problem, and I think there might be something here in terms of delivering big ticketed items to the actual recipient. So this is my idea for the slow cart. I'm going to refrain from actually doing the chant or the thing that when I was a kid growing up in Karachi, the guys used to do. But I think there's something here. I've always been interested in, like, I don't think I want to go into the grocery business. Maybe I'll send this to Praveen. I don't know what Praveen's going to do with this. I just, like, if somebody's got other ideas. I think I'm going to make this public. If somebody's got other ideas, feel free to place it in the comment section below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.